Well, the side-by-side does not have a heater in it, so I'm going to build one. I'm going to build a little platform for it and put a different battery out there for it rather than using the standard little small battery. I've got a very small trunk because I do have the 4-seater. Well, let's see what we're working with, because I can stick the diesel heater this way or this way. Let's see. Measure this out. Let's put it next to the D-rings too. Start at the closest point would be 16 and pretty much 3/4, and that is end to end. All right, if I come down a little bit more, yeah, I get just an 1/8 of an inch more, so that's good. It tells me I almost have 17 inches to play with this way. Now I can sit here and measure the diesel heater, and I have 16 inches. And that's with the nozzle. You want to give it a little bit of room to play. You don't want it snug in there because you don't want to be pinching off wires and stuff. So almost 17 inches. That's more than enough play. That's actually really perfect to stick it in that way. That way I could shoot the heat in the cab. So this will work. Now with this diesel heater, I'm going to put in an external power source rather than using the very small battery it comes with. This can get you out of a lot of jams. You don't want to drain the battery in your side-by-side. These don't use that much, but they use some. And then less stress, like this could last all day, probably all week, and you don't even have to charge it. And if you're not concerned about killing this battery, put a little solar panel on it or something like that. This is a LiPo4, Light4, whatever they call it. But yeah, that's what we're going to be sticking in with this system. She fits in there nicely. I'm going to be putting this thing on a platform, and it's going to raise it up a little bit. Alright, well, now to build the platform. Now I'm not going to go above and beyond on anything, but this Zap stuff is pretty expensive, and it works good for exterior on a house, out in the weather for years. So this is what I'm going with. Cut a nice little chunk out to be able to put this and this nice battery. That way she stays nice and charged. And I'm going to have everything in one little thing, and I'm going to use a ratchet strap to hold it down. That way the battery's not moving around in there. Ratchet straps can only do so much. And yeah, more importantly, keep this sucker down too. Any jumps or anything like that or rollover. It's nice to have everything a little bit more secure. Oh, there you go. All right, well, next step, platform. Now it's very important to know certain things when you're building a platform system, or if you're going to do something like this, is to make sure you have some proper ventilation for everything. What I mean by that is keep some space away, you know, a heat shield possibly, but these mufflers get ridiculously hot, and this is a battery, you know, you don't want it exploding. So I'm going to put, I don't know, some inches in between it with some pressure treated 2x4s, and it'll also help it keep it sturdy for the battery going back and forth. I plan on putting another 2x4 here on the side and in there, but nothing to go in the front because that's where it'll just be stationed. So the battery will be pretty stationary, it won't really move so much. Same way with this one. I'm going to put some, I got 2x4 on this side here too. Keep everything stationary, it doesn't move around. All right, well, there's that. There it is. I have to sturdy this up just a little bit more, but you can see how far away. And if it gets, a little warm, I'll put a heat shield on it. I do have a heat shield for this. It won't be hard to put that sock over top of it. Yep. She's starting to kick on now. I don't know if you see the smoke coming out of it. The cool thing about this one here is it comes with a remote. It's got a digital reading on the screen part. This has a full cab, so I was able to lift up the back tarp a little bit. This won't get that hot. This is where the hot air comes out, but I lifted up the tarp a little bit. I could put some insulation or something in there if it gets too much, but this thing right here will bake us out of the cab. Of course, I gotta put that somewhere too. I'm thinking about just running that straight up, to get some ducting straight up here and then straight down. That way it gets the whole cab. But just for now, temporary, it works good. And you can see, there she goes. Now she's blowing the heat. Blowing the heat.